I'm 39 years old and I've been laid off and I have been struggling to find a new job basically all year. So it's safe to say I've had some regrets in my career. And I just want to go over with some of those milestones and some of the things that maybe I wish I had done differently with you here today. So when I graduated in 2007, I graduated with a bachelor's degree in finance and in real estate. And when I graduated, I immediately went to work at a financial advisory firm, which I'm not really sure if I needed a degree at all to do that, but it was a lot of fun. It was a nice transition from college. And I mean, we balled out. We had some really cool things that we did. So we worked really hard calling people, prospecting, trying to set up appointments Monday through Thursday, really maybe through Friday afternoon. But as soon as noon hit on Friday, they busted out the grill, they parked it up under a tiki hut, and we had maybe a couple of libations too. And we just really enjoyed our Friday afternoon after working so hard Monday through Thursday. And this was the first time I went on a dinner cruise that they paid for. This is the first time that I was ever in a limo. Yeah, I never even got to be in a limo in prom or homecoming or anything like that. So definitely the first time I was ever in a limo. So I mean, we were balling out of control. It was a lot of fun. But one of the conditions of the job was that I had to pass my Series 7. So I went and passed my life, health, and variable annuity license so I can sell insurance. So that was good. But in order to be able to sell stocks and some other investments, I needed to pass this test. And it was a complicated test. There was a book and training manual that I had to study. And to be honest, I did not take that seriously. And I felt like I was always a good test taker. I got straight A's through most of my schooling. So I was like, I can take this test. And I didn't take it seriously and I failed. And there was no second chances. Not that I think that there should be, completely fair. They said you got to pass the Series 7 or you don't work here anymore. I didn't pass that Series 7 and I didn't work there anymore. So I did go on to work at my family's business for a couple of years, and that was cool because I learned a lot about marketing and sales and customer relationships and invoicing and all kinds of stuff. I'm very grateful for my uncles to give me that opportunity because, yeah, I mean, it was the 2008 financial crisis, so it wasn't like I was going to get an amazing job in finance and real estate. And the one path that I did have, I fumbled and couldn't go back to. So they kept me afloat and I learned a lot and they gave me a lot of opportunities and shared a lot of their knowledge and wisdom with me. So I'm very grateful for that. And I did that until about 2010. But then I felt like it was time to spread my wings, go out on my own. And the town that I grew up in, there weren't a lot of opportunities. It was mostly a retirement community, which was cool for the family business because they were able to sell to people who were just trying to, let's just say, do things with their second homes that they had, without getting into all the details of the business. But yes, I could not find, things were starting to pick up a little bit more by 2010, and I was like, maybe I can get some kind of job. But I had to move across state to a much bigger city, and I did that on basically a hope and a prayer. I had enough money saved up finally by working at my family business for a couple of years, and I moved over to a big city with savings, no job, and I actually did sign a 1-year lease. And I just bet on myself. I'm like, it's either I'm gonna run out of all this money and I might have to break this lease or something like that, or I'm gonna find a job. But I did what I had to do, found a nice apartment, and I think it only took me a couple of months to land a job. And I'm very grateful for that because it could have really turned south. And that job was awesome. I met a mentor who is still a really good friend of mine to this day. But he wasn't my manager. My actual manager was kind of that ish crazy and was terrible to work for, but at least I made that connection. And that experience is why, even to this day, all these years later, I'm very jaded and bitter towards the corporations, and I don't trust them. Because this is where I saw people who were working 20, 30 years, about to get a really nice pension right off into the sunset in just a couple of years, who were let go. I'm like, how could you do this to people who were working for you for 20, 30 years? And I just realized, you're just a number. You're easily replaceable. Most people don't have the value at an organization that they think they do. And if an organization has an opportunity to cut bait, to let you go, they don't care if you got family. They don't care if you got aging parents that you're taking care of. They don't care if you've been loyal to that company for 20, 30 years. They're going to do whatever to increase their bottom line, and they don't care about you at all. And that was a pretty crappy lesson to learn that early in my career, but you got to be real, you got to face facts, and that changed my whole perspective on corporate America on my very first corporate role. And in this role was, it was my first corporate job, but it was also the first time I got put on a performance improvement plan, or a PIP. And it just was annoying because my manager said, I can't teach you. Microsoft and Excel were big at that time. We didn't have all these other fancy things. And she said, I can teach you anything there is to know about the industry, but I can't teach you like the skills of learning Microsoft and Access and some other things. Like, all right, cool. So she said, all right, well, it was like Friday when I had the interview, and then I had to take a technical assessment on Monday. Now, I'd used Excel a little bit, but not to an expert level, and I had never used Access before. So I studied over the weekend, and I passed the Excel and the Access test with flying colors on Monday. So I did my part and learned the software that we needed, but I feel like she didn't do her part in teaching me the ropes of the industry, of the organization. And I learned the most from my mentor, who wasn't even my manager, and I didn't really learn anything from my manager or my manager's boss. The only thing I learned from my manager's boss is, we don't really do promotions around here. If you want to get to a higher level, you need to leave and then come back, which, you know that the system is broken. You're a vice president. You can't do anything to fix that, but I guess that was a good heads up. So there I was doing financial analysis. So it was the last role that was really similar to one of my degrees. And then from there, I would take probably a new job, I guess, every 2 or 3 years. But from there, I went to work in technology. It was a smaller company, and I had a really good time there. I worked with some amazing people who went on to work at some of the biggest companies in the country. And maybe after that, I should have seen if I could ride some of their coattails to get to places like Google and Meta and some other things. Maybe I should have said, oh, well, technology, it looks like I don't really know because they're doing a bunch of layoffs and all the good people are leaving. Maybe this could be a trend going forward. And maybe I should have tried harder to get back into finance before it was too late. Maybe I should have gone into real estate. I don't really know. But that was in 2011, and now we're here in 2014, and I got a lot of years of career and a lot of years of working left, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to return to tech. And now I don't have the experience that I really need to have a real job in finance, because I had that first job for like 2 years that was finance related and doing calculations and figuring out pricing costs. But now I don't have any experience in finance, don't have any experience in real estate, really. Besides that 2 years of finance and maybe that financial advisory role that I had, so maybe 3 years if we want to round up. And tech seems to be in the gutter. There's no good tech jobs out there, and I'm not saying that I deserve six figures. I'm not saying that I'm too proud or too good to work for less, but I mean, we've talked about on this channel, for someone to have a decent living, you need to have a household income of about 106,000. So how am I supposed to have a decent income and pay bills, keep a roof over my head, not live in the projects, not take the bus everywhere, I guess, because things are so spread out, you need a car in the States. So how am I supposed to have a decent life? Not a great life. I'm not asking for a Mercedes Benz. I'm not asking for a yacht. I'm not asking for people to clean my house every morning and feed me grapes. But like, how am I supposed to live a decent life if I'm making 40,000? I mean, how are people making? I posed the question in one of my previous videos. How are people making it on $40,000 a year? And someone answered, "We're not." I could go from previously making up to $110,000 a year down to 40,000, but I mean, I'm gonna have to get 2 or 3 jobs. It's not like I'm afraid of work, and I'm not going to support people's narrative that remote jobs are just cushy jobs, because that wasn't me. I worked just as hard, if not harder, because I would start working when I'd be commuting to work and work all throughout the day and be dressed for meetings and take it seriously because I valued it so much. Other people, sure, I know people who didn't take it seriously, who ruined it for everyone. Okay, fine. But me personally, I can't blame myself because I did take it seriously. And I'd also work on the commute home, and I'd still check things at night. And, if there was a release over a holiday weekend, you still work then to make sure things get done. So I don't regret the efforts that I put into remote work, because I couldn't have done any better job as a remote candidate, but other people ruined it. The concern about global pandemics are gone. Real estate has to be occupied. I mean, I get all the different reasons, but I don't regret that. But yeah, maybe I should have gotten it back into finance earlier. I mean, if I would have passed that Series 7 and taken it seriously, that could have changed my whole career, because I could be a big time financial advisor right now, which is still a job in need. Maybe I could have spent more time and worked hard on getting a new job in finance, and I could still have a job right now. I don't really know. And then in my last role, it was supposed to be a year contract, and it ended in about 9 months or so. So then I did a little bit of traveling, visited some countries, and then came back at the beginning of 2024 and just hit the ground running with applying to jobs. I applied to 2,100 jobs before I stopped counting. I was like, all right, this is a lot of jobs. I don't need to count myself getting to 3,000. I mean, I counted every single application up until that point. And I applied for all the roles that I've had previously in my career in technology, at least, being a business analyst, product owner, Scrum Master, project manager, all the roles that I've done, at least for a little bit. But it seems like in the USA, tech is dying. I know remote work is dead. Okay, I'm gonna have to work in person. But I don't know. I'm not seeing a lot of opportunities in tech that aren't, a third? If it's 40,000, a third of what I was making. Maybe at best case scenario, a half, which still would be money, right? A little bit of money is better than no money, but like, it's not going to be sustainable long term unless you move into your car or something. So I don't know. Maybe if I still stayed the course of finance, or maybe if I, like I said, took that test seriously, or maybe if I pivoted into real estate, I could be a real estate mogul, a real estate tycoon right now, or I could have a combination doing like real estate underwriting. I mean, I could have chosen a lot of other things besides pivoting into technology, at least with the hindsight that I have right now. So those are some of my regrets in my career. And it's hard to really evaluate everything fairly and honestly when you're in the midst of it. But having been laid off and having the past almost year now of just being able to analyze all the things that I did wrong, all the mistakes, all the things that I could have done differently. I'm able to really come up and be honest with myself about some of the regrets of my career. I love to hear about some of the regrets that you've had in your career, maybe pivots that you wish that you didn't do, jobs that you wish you didn't take, jobs that you wish you didn't quit. Let's have a conversation and let's share our pain down in the comments below. Talk to you later.